I believe we are live. And hello, and everyone out there in Facebook land, hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I am Michelle Byerly with the Nonprofit Partnership, welcoming you to this segment of Our Stories, Our Time. In this series, we interview nonprofit leaders, and we're here to really understand how organizations are navigating through the times that we're in now. And it allows us to look at a glimpse of the issues that communities are facing and how our nonprofits really show up for those communities. We hear about the experiences of organizations. We have a great one here today, and really want to make an effort to capture these stories that are coming in from all different types of organizations and those leaders who are out there leading them. So before I introduce today's guest, we would love to thank the Port of Long Beach for their generous support of this series. It's such an important way for us to showcase the different nonprofits in the community and the great work that they're doing. And if you are watching us live on Facebook, feel free to engage in the comments, leave comments for our guests. They'll be looking at them later on, and like and share and spread the word. With that, I would love to introduce Angel Macias, the founder and CEO of California Families in Focus. Hi, Angel.
Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for having me on this platform. It's an honor for me.
Thank you. And like I said, when we first joined this call, so nice to be on this with you today and be able to have a discussion. So I know you do such great work in the community, and we get to be somewhat face-to-face now. So to start out, I would love for you to share, especially as the founder, what were the goals when you started California Families in Focus, and what is it that your organization does for the community?
Awesome. So the goals was, let me take you back a little further. I grew up in a really bad part of town, and we were in and out of the projects, and living that lifestyle just really exposed me to the dangers and the trouble areas that youth can get into, and the lack of services and support for some of our most vulnerable youth, especially if they have single parent homes. So growing up in that lifestyle, as I got older and started understanding more about life, it was very imperative for me to volunteer organizations, programs, or businesses that had community service. And that's how I actually got involved. I started getting involved being a volunteer. And after attending multiple conferences and so forth, I just thought to myself, there's more to life than this, and I actually have a purpose. I have a purpose in this world. So I started working in Long Beach for the health department. And I came from Culver City. And Culver City, we worked a lot with the gang involved youth. And we worked a lot with the gangs, coordinated and facilitated along with many community leaders of peace treaties. So once that was done, I moved to Long Beach, and then Long Beach, I started working with the health department through an HIV awareness and a prevention program. And after that, I went to work for St. Mary's to create programs for pregnant and parenting teen mothers. And I just fell in love with the work. I fell in love with working with the youth, and I fell in love with teaching. And what my motivation was, what my goals was to prevent any of these youth from going through the stuff that I went through growing up, and asking myself, when I was young, what kind of services would I have wanted, and who would I have wanted to be there to guide me and to show me the ropes. Life is tough in itself, but when we talk about youth that are members of the LGBTQ plus community, or single moms, like I was saying, single parents, they have so many other issues to go, as a youth in itself, we go through so much, but then having other situations on top of that, we have to navigate the system and find out where we where we can get the services that we need for our special needs. It could be anywhere from getting mentoring for these parents, for helping their youth access services, do any type of training that helps prepare them for the workforce, resume writing and how to dress for success and so forth. Working with the gang involved youth, the teen moms, and the LGBTQ plus community. I mean, where else, can you find a multitude of issues to solve? And, I thank the universe for an amazing support that I found here in Long Beach. I keep saying it, when I moved to Long Beach just adopted me, and they Long Beach wrapped its arms around me, and they did not let me go. So when it came time for me to create my own nonprofit, I had a lot of help from my co-founder, Robert Speak. He just came to me and he saw everything I was doing in the community and asked me if you had a magic wand, and if you can help the community, what would you need with that magic wand? I said, I would love to have my own. So he was like my fairy godfather. So he sat me down, asked me a bunch of questions, and from all those questions, he and his team of attorneys created our bylaws. They filed all of the paperwork for the creation of California Families in Focus. And initially, we were going to call it Long Beach Families in Focus, but he says, think bigger. Think, if you were to move anywhere in California, where, you would be able to. So I said, well, why don't we call it California Families in Focus? And he loved it. He went, he checked to see if the name was taken. It was not taken, and he quickly paid for all of that. So since its inception, California Families in Focus has been working with all of the community, regardless of what you identify with, where you come from, your socioeconomic background, and so forth. And we have been providing, the number one thing that we have been providing is mentoring. What we're good at is empowering youth and mentoring youth. So that is like the nucleus of everything that we do. We were doing so many programs, projects, and events. We were hosting all these events, and we were doing so much that we were all over the place. And then I'm going to do a plug for the nonprofit partnership. I just asked Christine. I said, Christina, we're all over the place. We need to get organized. Having this apartment, and your apartment's a mess. I said, I need everything organized. And she said, oh, well, we have this opportunity with the Moving Towards Sustainability. We got a grant. Why don't you look at the information and see if you would like to participate? I read the information. I said, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need, because I love to help the entire community. However, when it comes to funding, what is fundable, So going through the Moving Towards Sustainability, we were able to narrow it down. And I sent you all that one page, or depends on how you open it.
Yeah.
Little bit more. We were able to do this not necessarily get rid of all the programs, projects, and events and just keep the mentoring. We tied the other programs, some projects, and some events to it, where it's like just it's a natural entire program that encompasses all these other program, projects, and events. And what we found out that we had been doing all along was social and emotional learning. We did not know that there was such a term, but when your experts sat us down and they said, okay, what do you do? What do you do? And when they heard everything, of course, their mind was like, oh my God. What they did for us is that they fixed everything. They organized everything so that now we have a unified, we have this message. where we can say, mentoring is our top priority. However, we work with the parents so that when these teens go home, the parents understand exactly what they learned, and then we also work with the siblings. So what we have here is just these wraparound programs that fit perfectly. Because one thing that I used to hear and I used to repeat a lot was, you can't bring me your child and say, fix my child, and then they go back home, and you're so you know busy worrying about everything else, and we needed to not only work on the teens and the children, but we needed to invite their mothers, their parents, to be part of something greater than themselves. So what they're doing is that they're learning together, they're learning the same things, age appropriately, of course, and then they're volunteering for the I Remember Too, they're volunteering for the Spirit of Christmas, and they are working as a team. And that just unifies the family, and it gives them a sense of belonging and purpose, and just a sense of family where they can go back home and talk about their experiences. It's just an amazing thing that happened when we were part of that program. So thank you so much for that. And I can go on and on, but
Well, that was such a great, it was so, I'll just say, let me highlight all the great things about what you just shared. First, thank you so much for taking it back to your origin story, where you came from, and then how you came to be. I think that it's not only important to tell the story of where California Families in Focus is now, but you are almost just, you're the embodiment of a mentor, sharing your journey, your career journey of how you got here, how you're seeing your passions through your career, and how you're having an impact on the community. That's, that is being a mentor for people out there that are trying to figure out the same thing. So thank you so much for sharing that, especially now where people are really taking some time to define what it is that they want to do in their career and in their next steps. And that's kind of what the job market is really looking like now. And so I think that's so valuable that you shared that. So I appreciate you going back to the beginning and starting there. And I just want to say, so you were talking about, you spoke about Long Beach when you came here, and Long Beach kind of hugged you. And when you were talking about your programs coming together, doing this, it's like, that holistic approach is really kind of embracing the whole family and the whole community, with the community together. And that's, the through line in your story and what your organization does. So thank you so much. That was a great introduction to what you do and who you are as a person too. So I really appreciate that. Taking it into kind of current times, and we started these conversations right in the middle of 2020, and we were in the middle of things shifting, and things keep shifting, and so we're still living in this kind of ever-changing world. What are some of those opportunities that happened over the last 2 years with the pandemic and everything else that was happening in the community? What were any of those opportunities that California Families in Focus were able to have a greater impact with?
absolutely. What an amazing question that is. So I always talk about the silver lining of things. You always, whenever you have adversity, and I'll be one to say I've had a lot of adversity in my life. What you do and how you move forward is extracting the positive. Yeah, there's a lot of negative, and we could write like pages and pages of the negativity. However, what is the silver lining? The silver lining is that now, instead of only reaching a few people, we can reach the multitudes. So our mentoring programs, still working on providing them online. But now, instead of saying, well, we can only welcome mentors from Long Beach because you're here and we want you to meet you. Now it can be, we can go to Orange County, we can go to Palm Springs, we can go to different cities, different states, and welcome mentors from different places. So that's one thing. What we found is that we went back to basics, and not a lot of organizations were able to do that. And let me tell you why. California Families in Focus started providing basic stuff to meet the needs of the community, such as providing them information on where to access the food if they qualify for any government programs. We would sit down with them and interview them, and then we would check off like, oh, you don't know about WIC? Well, you're a mom, you know. So let's get you involved with that. Providing going knocking on doors and asking the seniors, are you okay? So we were able to quickly shift from providing in-person programs, projects, and events to meeting the immediate needs of our most vulnerable community, which was our seniors, our immigrants, and our trans community, our LGBTQ plus community. And let me go back to the immigrants.
Sure.
We decided to focus on the immigrants because everybody, you know, that was working, or if you weren't working, you got a stimulus check. Our immigrants, you know, we're going to tell the truth. Some of them are working under other Social Security numbers to be able to. So the person who got that stimulus check is the person who lent in the Social Security. Now this is illegal stuff, right. But and some of them did not get any sort of stimulus. Not only that, they were the first ones to be laid off, and the first ones to start losing their housing because they could not pay. So we decided to do whatever we could, whether it was like putting together our own money, asking the local businesses to fund this specific COVID program, or just seeing which government agencies had some sort of funding, and if they didn't, we asked why. We asked why. We went to the first person we went to was Janice Hahn. It's like, Janice Hahn, come on now, you know, we have everybody's getting a stimulus check. What about the immigrants? You know, what are we going to do? And she quickly responded and started advocating in legislature to help, to be able to help the immigrants. So, you know, we went back to basics. We went back to basics. We discovered that our own tribe had a lot of talents, including myself. You know, I started a cooking class,
which I loved. Your cooking classes, I could still watch them. I know they're banked there on Facebook.
Yeah, so you know, some of us were shy to tell people like other stuff that we did or what our passions were. But I believe that COVID revealed a lot of our passions. What are we really passionate about? A lot of the time we see each other in the community, but we don't know. We don't know. You might be a great painter, a musician, a great cook. You know, we don't know that. So people got to be invited. So to me, it was very personal because I'm like, I'm not only sharing my cooking class, I'm sharing my home, I'm sharing my kitchen.
Yes.
To see for the first time in history, my private space, my sacred space, you know. So we instead of being isolated and being distant, we became closer. I feel this. I feel like we got an opportunity to get closer and to without having to get dressed and travel, to be meeting, you know, face to face with other individuals. So silver lining, and you know, we've learned a lot along the way.
And I would join those cooking classes sometimes, and you would say, "Hi, Michelle, I see you there." And I made the potato tacos, and they were delicious. I did. And I think that it's such a, I mean, you know, when I've been asked along the way in the last 2 years, what are nonprofits doing? What have they been experiencing, or how has this impacted their work? And exactly what you shared, people either had more individuals to serve because they were doing something that already was a basic need, or they shifted to meet the needs of who they were serving. And they found a way to do that. And that often meant providing whatever basic resources to whoever the population were that they were serving. And the other important thing that I want to highlight that you talked about was advocacy, and even knowing who to advocate to for those reasons. I mean, for those things that they need, I think is such an important thing that nonprofits can do and can do more of. And it doesn't mean that you're a lobbyist or you're lobbying. It's actually part of what we do, which is educate our elected officials, our, the leaders in the community on what are the needs of the people that we're serving. And that is a role that nonprofits play, and a really important one, especially when systems aren't working for people.
Absolutely. We are the tip of the spear kind of people, because we're out there. Our finger is in the pulse of the community. So if there's anybody who you or elected officials need to listen to, it's the nonprofits. It's the people who, decided to say, okay, so this COVID thing is out there. Should we close our doors, or should we learn everything we can about it, suit up, mask up, glove up, and hit the streets? And that's exactly what we decided to do. Is and I talked to every single one of our members, and I said, if you choose to do this, you could potentially get infected, and you're risking yourself. The courage, the courage, and that dedication to serving, I mean, just overshadowed everything. All of the fear, and it was like the same message. Oh, we're going out on faith and not on fear, and we're gonna keep doing what we've been doing, and we're gonna shift a little bit to provide more direct services. But they did not disappoint me. I mean, we all were out there, and it was a beautiful thing to see. Now I have to disclose that a lot of our members were infected with COVID, but everybody got it. They went and got in their vaccinations and so forth, and still we're learning more about it. We're taking every precaution possible, but as you can see, I don't care how careful you are, you're gonna get infected, one way or another. And we think about everything that we touch, everything that we encounter. It's crazy when you're like, oh my God, I just touched this, and that. It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
And now that's always in the back of our mind a little bit. And I just want to, highlight it is. We talk about it in a lot of different ways, so many different facets of the community that showed up, especially our healthcare workers and people, but nonprofits showed up, and they had courage, and they shifted, and they tried to meet those needs. And I will also say, I am so grateful to be at a nonprofit that was able to be a support during that time. And not everyone was as fortunate to continue to provide services. And I think that is something that helped our organization, and that we all, I think, really are grateful for being able to continue to provide that. And so I think there's courage, and then there's also you gave someone a purpose, which I think you talked about your own purpose, but being a nonprofit and giving purpose to people and what they're doing is also such an important facet of what we do, and why volunteerism is such a huge part of nonprofits and the work that we do.
You're absolutely right. And one thing that I always keep telling people, it starts at the top, at the leadership, because if you just cross your hands and you're just like, cross your arms, and you're just like, well, it's not my problem, everybody else will follow. But if you like roll up your sleeves and say, guess what? This is what I'm doing. So you model that behavior, the behavior, and then your crew just follows, your tribe. They follow suit, and then you're all making a difference together. And you're right. A lot of our members reported that they felt more alive and more purposeful during these last 2 years, which is awesome to hear.
So great. And I know, so given that you're doing mentoring, you have a lot of programs in the community. I know right before this, we were talking about your planning for the future, and you shared kind of how you've been able to expand what you're doing. How can people, first, if there's anything new that's on the horizon that you want to share, please do, but also how can people get a hold of you? I think I see the wonderful Carolina adding some of that information into the chat here in the comment section. But for people watching maybe on online or somewhere else, how can they find California Families in Focus, either online, or how can they contact you if they want to get involved?
We're we were terrible at our social media, like updating our social media. We finally got somebody to just do that. So we got a couple interns that are just working on the social media. Our website is www.mycff.org, and they can find us there and then navigate the website. Go to the programs, projects, and events, and choose which one calls to your soul. And you can join us. We have volunteers, we have interns, we have associate committee members that can join, and everything has a process. So first you have to be a volunteer or an intern for at least 1 year, and then you can move up to associate committee member, which is part of our tribe. And then from there, we can pick out board members for our next cycle of board members. So it's I just want it to be cyclical. I want it to be where our mentees, the youth that we mentored, come back. We pull them back, and then they're working, they're helping us, and they already know what we do, and we don't have to spend so much time trying to convince them that this is a great nonprofit that they need to be part of. And that's exactly what's happening now. Everybody that we mentored is coming back and either pulling us into what they're doing, or to their corporate sponsors. They're part of a business, and they're like, oh, we can be corporate sponsors, and here's the information. So it's finally happening, and it just makes me happy. It makes me happy, it makes me proud, and it's definitely living my purpose, and leaving a legacy of love and stewardship for everybody else to follow.
That's amazing. So we're gonna have that in the chat. We'll share it at the end when we post this up on YouTube. We'll add that website also. So thank you.
Thank you, Carolina.
Yeah, thank you, Carolina. So just to, we're getting close to our 30 minutes. I told you it was going to go by fast. I would love to know, this is something we started in the pandemic, but we know that even though it's been 2 years, we feel maybe sometimes a little more overwhelmed than we did 2 years ago. And so as a leader, and such an inspiring leader in the nonprofit sector, what do you do for self-care? How are you ensuring you have, some self-care in the time that you're giving back to the community?
Oh, that's another great question. Great questions. Are you sure this is your first
We'll say
time?
thank you to Carolina. So most
of okay.
A little bit.
So what I really zoned in and focused in on was I learned how to properly meditate. About meditation, about creating a Zen area. You have to have a Zen area. A lot of us are working from home, and some of us, this is a condo. This is a 1-bedroom condo. So I have to section it off to, okay, here's my kitchen. Here's where I can veg out and watch a movie. Here is my office space. And then here is my bedroom and my Zen area. So you have to remove anything that's a distraction. You have to remove it from where you sleep and where you're gonna have Zen. So my Zen area is my bedroom. That's where I Zen, and right before I go to sleep, I meditate. When I wake up, I meditate. And then just learning more about living a life of gratitude. When you live a life of gratitude, when you wake up, being grateful for the breath, for you being able to move your limbs, you being able to wake up. And like my wife Kim used to say, I wake up happy because what did she say? I'm above ground and I'm not, below ground. So I'm happy. I'm going to wake up happy, and I'm going to inspire everybody else to be grateful. So just if you don't know how to meditate, research it. There's meditation for beginners. There's therapeutic oils that you can put in your oil infuser. There's so many things that you can do for self-care, even taking a bath. That is just like such a ritual, put in a bath bomb and light some candles and have some time for yourself, have some me time, separate everything, and then schedule. Okay, from this time to this time, just like you were going into the office. From this time to this time, I'm going to work. From this time to this time, I will have dinner. And from this time to this time, I can either read or paint or do something that I love to do. And that will take care of me. We also decided to do in our our code of ethics, we added our last little bullet point on our code of ethics is self-care, because that's going to be like very important moving forward, and we have to take that seriously, because if we don't take care of ourselves and if we're sick, nobody's going to be able to come in and step in and do the work that we do. So as leaders, we have to take care of ourselves, because if we can't do the work that we do, you're going to have to be pulling at other people to do it, and they might not be ready, or they might not be doing the self-care as well. So we can't give what we don't have. So we have to, get that self-care, and then be able to give more.
Thank you. It's so important. And you even talked about modeling earlier, and kind of that flexing the organizational services, and modeling and self-care is also important for a leader to do also. So thank you. So inspiring. It has been so wonderful to talk with you today, Angel, and hear an update, because I love to have an update from all the nonprofits anytime I can get that. So, and it's so wonderful to hear about all the impact you continue to have with California Families in Focus. So I know people can look in the chat to see where they can get a hold of you, and I am grateful for my time with you today and for what you do for the community. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And thank you everyone out there for joining us.
Thank you, TMP. Thank you to, and I keep repeating this, and I'm probably one of your biggest fans. Thank you for everything you all do, because we need the nucleus. You are the nucleus for the nonprofits, and I'm so grateful that I'm part of this amazing tribe with the TMP. So thank you all for everything you do.
Thank you so much. All right, everyone, have a great rest of your day.